It's me, Adrian Martinez, here once again with another episode of Tribute to Our Heroes. Today I'm joined by a very ambitious and hardworking Army veteran who received a tremendous amount of support from Soldiers Angels while he was deployed. We're honored to have been a part of his journey, and we're just as honored to have him here today on today's episode to share his experience. Please welcome Army veteran Tevin Thomas. Tevin, how are you?
I'm great, Adrian. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. Thank you so much for joining us. And today on this episode is actually a little bit more special because not only do we have Tevin here who's supported by us, we actually have our angel volunteer, Tara, who was basically supporting Thomas through us at Soldiers Angels with him along the way of his deployment. So we were able to have them both today on today's podcast. Let me bring her in. Hello, Tara. How are you today?
Hi, doing well. Thank you.
Thank you guys so much for joining us. This is a very exciting and interesting episode. I'm really excited to show our audience this story, how it played out for Tevin and for you, and from both perspectives. So thank you so much for being here, both of y'all. I know we're all busy, so thank you. First and foremost, I just want to say, but on behalf of everyone watching, and of course, Soldiers Angels as a whole, thank you, Tevin, for your service to our country. I know, as we talked about last time a little bit, we know you had a lot of sacrifices that you had to make, a lot of challenges to overcome, and I'm just glad that, we were here to help you out, and we have angel volunteers like Tara here to be working with us to help support, service members all across the globe. So thank you. We'll get into all of that. Let me just start off real simple. Tevin, go ahead and tell us all where you are from.
So I'm from Richmond, Indiana, which is a smaller town close to the Indiana-Ohio border. I grew up in Union City, Indiana, which is actually a very small town on the border. So half the town's in Ohio, half of it's in Indiana. One of those towns with just a few stoplights, and everybody knows everybody. Graduated high school, I think, with a class of around 50. So it's a smaller, tight-knit community.
Yeah, small. What about you, Tara? Where are you from?
I am from North Carolina.
Nice, North Carolina. Born and raised?
Local as you can be here, yes.
Nice. I guess what kind of got you interested in wanting to join the military, and I guess more specifically the Army?
Growing up, I had kind of a hard life that had a lot of different obstacles in it, but something that was always there for me was someone to support me. I finished my high school career living with my football coach. And then a couple years after I actually graduated high school, my papa passed away, and he was in the Navy. So these two things kind of came together, and I knew I always wanted to do something to give back to all those different individuals that helped me get through all the obstacles in my life. So I thought, I should join the military, as I had no one else in my family in the military at the time. So I went to the recruiter's office. I took all the tests, and I chose infantry. And then my recruiter was like, "How do you feel about being airborne?" And I try to say, "Oh, I'm terrified of heights, so I don't think that's going to work out for me." But they eventually convinced me to go airborne. And then, the rest is history. I went down to Bragg, did the infantry basic OSIT, and then went airborne, and then ended up in the 82nd. So I think that the way that my life played out, and the fact that there was always someone there to help me through anything, really gave me the passion and want to go help people. And when you think about America, being in the military, you're serving for every single person in America. So what better way to give back to your country than to join the military?
Absolutely. Oh man, that's a great answer. No, that's pretty awesome. And as far as what was your rank when you separated?
So I got out as a sergeant.
And Tara, do you have any connection to any sort of military at all? Family members?
Not really.
No.
Some distant relatives, but nothing close.
Hey, that's fine though. You're still patriotic and helping those who served as well. So I mean, that's another way of giving back, I think. So thank you so much for volunteering with us. Well, volunteers like you are what help our organization do what it does best. So thank you. All right, so you go ahead. What years did you serve from again, Tevin?
So I served from 2015 to 2020. And
Gotcha.
I got out right when the pandemic happened.
Oh man, that sounds interesting. We'll talk about that later. So so you joined in. Where did you end up eventually getting deployed to?
So in 2019, I got deployed to Afghanistan as an 82nd attachment to 2 different special forces groups. Then I was there from June until like late December.
Gotcha. So I guess go ahead and tell us a little bit about that, how your experience went, and I guess eventually how you end up getting in contact with Soldiers Angels and how Tara ended up being helping out from you. And then
So I spent a lot of time running combat missions, trying to help the partner force and the basically the Afghan population. And something that really stood out to me was how much is taken for granted back in America. Being in Afghanistan for 6 months and getting to see like how it operates there was really eye-opening, and it really made me feel like I didn't understand how well I had it in America. Just being able to sleep on a bed, being able to make the choices that I wanted to make, being able to wear what I wanted to wear. Something that really changed my life while I was over there as well was I was downrange, and my second child was actually born. And this was a really big deal to me because growing up the way I did, family was always going to be the number one priority in my life. And I knew that the type of man that I wanted to be was someone that was going to always be there for my kids and my wife and my family. And I felt like missing that birth was a huge, just, I don't know, punch in the gut. That's something that kind of goes on a lot in the military, and people don't think about it to the point where it's like, you in the military, you spend a lot of time away, and one of the things that's always promised is that you get those days off to go see your child born. You get to go spend those days, and unfortunately, like I didn't get to do that. So that was a big time that Soldiers Angels actually really helped me. And so you're trying to think. Yeah. So I think I ran into Soldiers Angels around August or September. My mom actually registered me for Soldiers Angels, and she said, "Hey, they're gonna send you letters. We're gonna get you in contact with these individuals, and they're gonna be there for you." And at the time, I had just transitioned back from downrange to being in charge of an airfield, so I was sitting behind a computer more of the time than actually running missions. And that's when I actually met Tara, and we started emailing back and forth. And it was a very needed relationship for me, as I was deployed. I was in charge of a bunch of soldiers, like, and my heart was still back at home where my second child had been born. And being able to be sponsored by Soldiers Angels and being able to have communications with Tara constantly, and like we weren't talking about how hard is it over there. It wasn't this. It was like, hey, what do you think about what's going on, like where's the mail room? I remember that specific conversation where we talked about like, where do you even get your mail? Does it come straight to you? And I was talking about it, like, no, I have to go through like 3 other bases into like an oasis to find the mail. I just remember that conversation and the constant support. Like I could always look forward to an email every day, no matter what it was, whether it was saying hi, whether it was like, hey, how is this? Like, how are your children? Like it was sending me pictures of the actual whole team where they had a box in my picture and they were bringing stuff. And it was so motivating to me that I had this whole support that like they didn't know who I was. They just signed up because they wanted to like help service members, and then they eventually became family to me. And like waiting for their letters and their boxes was something that I really looked forward to each and every time. And like the biggest thing that I remember is getting a blanket, which was like in Afghanistan, you don't really think about blankets because when you think about deploying, like it's not a comfortable spot, like you're sleeping on the ground and things like that. And getting that blanket, just the warmth from it, like it just felt like I was at home. Like it was just something that was so important to me, and like something that I hung on the whole time. I actually left it there to another soldier who got there when I was leaving. But Tara and her team were like, "Hey, we want to support you with another package when you get home. Because we know you're coming home around Christmas. You got
Mhm.
your second child was just born, and they sent me a coming home package when I got home, which had another blanket in it, and I have kept this blanket right here. I have kept it
Nice.
for I don't know how long it's been, like 3 or 4 years now,
Mhm.
and it's something that when you look at it, like there's just so many memories. There's so
Mhm.
many like good feelings just about this blanket, and it's something that has motivated me to find a way to do that for other soldiers too. Because
It becomes more than a blanket, I'm
yeah,
assuming, right?
it's
Yeah.
more than a blanket. Just like being sponsored, like it's not just like a sponsorship; it's a family. Like
Mhm.
you're getting so much support from everywhere. I can't thank Soldier Angels enough for just what they did, becoming basically my family while I was over there and providing so much support
Yeah.
during probably one of the hardest times in my life, to be honest.
When we hear that we do make an impact and we do help soldiers all around the world, military members all around the world, it really does solidify that what we're doing is right. We're going about it the right way, and we want to continue to do so. I'm really eager to hear here from Tara's point of view. Tara, let us know, like, how did you ended up getting started with Soldiers Angels? How did you end up starting all this and being such a big impact for Tevin here?
Sure. Well, I had accepted a position where I had a long commute
Hmm.
and I was no longer able to participate in service projects and um, charity events, that I had previously. So I thought I need something that's flexible, that, less structured, I can do on my own time. So I actually joined Soldiers Angels first on the letter writing team.
Mm.
And so spend some time doing that. But then felt the nudge to go to incorporate also the deployed adoptions team.
Mm.
And so Tevin was the very first soldier that I selected from the database. He was selected because we share the same initials, and
Mm.
that's how
Makes
we were
sense.
matched. So I did reach out to his mom because the email that was provided was a female name and it did not match Tevin's name, of course. So she was so excited when I sent her an email. She's like, I'll let him know. I'll find out the best email address that he checks the most and get you in contact. So we were put in contact pretty quick after that selection and was just excited. And at the time, I was in charge of a team at work, and I had thought, well, this will be a good opportunity for us as a work team to
Hmm.
do something to be a cohesive activity for us, as well as provide the support for a soldier. And so when I presented the idea, they were all excited about it. There were a lot of military connections
Mm.
within our work team. And so one lady's son was had recently joined. So there was a lot of connections, lots of brothers and uncles and all the good stuff. So we were able to provide him with letters that wasn't just me telling about my life every 2 weeks. So I did allow them to write the letters, and I sent those. And we did, as Tevin mentioned, put a box right in front of my office, and his picture was on it. And we all signed up to bring things from his wish list. And then once we got that filled, I'd ship the package out. And we were fortunate, especially for my first soldier, that Tevin was in a situation where he had access to email. And so
Mhm.
we could fairly easily communicate. I remember those same stories. I'm going to carry those memories with me throughout my life that I will not forget. Our conversations, and has a wonderful sense of humor, and he's a very creative writer. So it was very fun from my side. And
Mhm.
then if there were things to encourage the group to continue supporting him, I would ask, is it okay if I share this with the team? He actually sent us pictures when he received one of the boxes, and so that was very fun on our side
Mhm.
as we provided that support.
Nice. Way to go, Tara. Way to go and go like the extra mile. Like that's so awesome that you ended up getting your workplace involved too. And it's nice to see that even they were eager to help out as well. I think that the general population does tend to want to do things like this. They're just not really aware of ways to do it. So for you to bridge that gap to like a disconnected audience is really awesome. That's a well done, great job. You're in Afghanistan, you've getting all the support. How does your time end there? Like, how does it, as far as like when you come home and you're processing out, Tevin? How was that?
So my transition was a little bumpy because I came back right at the end of 2019, and then that's when the pandemic started heating up. I think around like February or March, and I was tasked with the goal of getting out of the military and moving across the country back to Indiana within
Mhm.
about 3 months, which became quite difficult when the country shut down because Fort
Mhm.
Bragg also, well, Fort Liberty now shut down as well. The way out of the military was quite bumpy, but something that I take from that experience is that I really figured out what it's like as a soldier transitioning out with like no support immediately when you get out. I spent about 6 months, I think, um, just trying to figure out what I was gonna do, like how my life was gonna go. Just processing that and getting through all that it was a very difficult time for me, but it's something that I look back on now, and I think that it really prepared me for what I want to do in my life by giving me, the vision of what it's like for soldiers members to come out with not, I mean, some support, but not enough support, and kind of fed to me like different ways that I think that America can help transitioning soldiers all together.
Mhm.
And one of the biggest heartbreaks that I felt while I was transitioning out is I had another soldier that I deployed with, who was one of
Mhm.
my best friends. He also got out during the pandemic, and unfortunately, he went back to the place where he was at before he deployed, and he ended up ODing on Veterans Day, and that really sparked me to try
Mhm.
to find the resources and see what different ways you can combine the resources for
Yeah.
transitioning soldiers because I felt like my life has always been full of obstacles that I needed to surpass, and I always have people like me that make it through all these different hardships and all these different obstacles. Like they're given a chance to come back and then teach others and say, "Hey, this is how it went for me. This is how I got through it. Like it, how can we help those
Yeah.
others that are going to go through the same thing?" Because the transition out of the military to the civilian life is it's not an easy one. It's a whole
Mhm.
different world. In a way, I'm humbled and glad that it was me that went through it in
Yeah.
order to gain the knowledge of what it's like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's
No,
a
so
great answer. I'm terribly sorry to hear about your friend. I mean, it's such a shame that that happens. It's such a shame that it happens as often as it does, and it kind of goes almost unnoticed in some cases, and it's very sad, and it's just it breaks our heart, breaks mine heart specifically. I know of veterans that we know people that those aren't just people. Those are our friends. Those
Mhm.
are like our brothers, our sisters. We work alongside with them, and we experienced all the hard stuff with them, and so you're over here trying your best and you think everybody's there with you, and then some people just they don't see any other way out, and it's a tragedy. It really is. So when you were transitioning out and you're going all of that through COVID, were you still in contact with Tara?
Yeah, so we've stayed in contact pretty much the whole time since I've been out. She's
Hmm.
been someone that has been like a crutch to me when I need someone to go talk to, or I need that extra push, or I need some motivation to get through whatever it is in front of me. That's when I hit TT up and I'm like, hey, you got some time to video. Like I'm trying to work on this giant thing where I can envision it, but I can't figure out where the steps are. And she's always there to support. Like sometimes I take the different perspective on things. So in order to figure out, is there a different way to be done? And like she's someone that will sit there and listen and be like, okay, so how would that work, or how will this work, or what are you gonna do here? And like
Hmm.
I'm so appreciative of Tara and the way that she has stuck with me, and um, it's definitely an overachiever for Soldiers Angel. It's like,
Nice.
like it's a family relationship that's going to last forever, and the memories already are like it's something that keeps me going when I do
Mhm.
hit hard times. It's
Awesome. No, Yeah, I'm glad to have Tara on our team. I'm curious to know, Tara, like, how does that make you feel? How does that translate to you on your side? Does it something that you just feel inside you intrinsically, or was there something that sparked all of this, or do you just want to give back in any way that you can?
Just wanted to give back, and I'm
Mhm.
so proud of Tevin. Was when you were deployed, and even more so now. As he mentioned, we have had communication
Mhm.
since he has returned, and you have such big goals, and you're going to crush every one of them and exceed. So I'm definitely keeping my eye on you for that reason. But also, fan for life. I'm here to support as he needs.
Awesome. That's so great to hear. I think I might need to call you up if I need some motivation too, Tara. It
Sure.
seems it seems like you are just beaming with positivity and joy that I think a lot of people would love to have. So we're glad you're on our team, like 100%. We're glad that you're here. That we're able to make this happen, and it just seemed like it all happened almost for like a reason. It seems like it's all meant to be here in some way or another. So I'm glad that it all happened the way it happened.
It's definitely
Um,
a blessing in my life. So
That's great to hear. Well, if anybody needs some motivation, maybe email Tara. She'll give you some good words of advice. That's good to hear. All right. So now, you're going to school. Tara, you're still in contact with Tara. Everything's, kind of trucking along. What's going on with you right now, Tevin? What are you currently doing? What are your plans for the future?
So in July, I finished my associates for my psychology degree, and then right now I'm getting associates in criminal justice, which I plan on transferring over to a 4-year college because I'm going to community college right now,
Mhm.
and getting a bachelor's in criminal justice and psychology, and starting a public relations company that focuses on community collaboration and cohesion. And one
Mhm.
of the big things that I want to implement is, the slogan "Learn anything to help anyone."
Hey man, well, you got me all riled up too, man. That's good though. That means that you care. So, and I think that's the one thing that a lot of people need to do is if you care about it, it's gonna fulfill you one way or another. And I think you realize that, and I think you're starting to follow that sort of path. You know what I mean? And you got big goals, but I mean they're not bad goals to have. And I commend you for wanting to do them. I think it's great what you want to do. I think we need a lot more people to kind of have these big aspirations. Because I think honestly, a lot of people do want to help. I just think that in some way or another along their life, they felt like maybe they can't do it, or this is not for me, or it's not possible, or something along those lines. But the ones that do make it through, the ones that want to actually help and say, no, I need to, or I found a way, or I'll find a way. I think those are the ones that create change. And I'm happy that people like that are still out there. I mean, it seems like you're one of them. I hope to God that your fire never burns out, man. Shoot for the stars, dude. You'll get there. I really do think so, man. And I'm glad that we were able to help you along the way. I'm glad Tara was with us to help you along the way. And when you're up there running for president, you'll have our vote for sure. That's for
That's
sure.
awesome. That's awesome. You'll be the first people I call.
Hey, that'd be great. That'd be super great for the organization. You'll be doing some good for us. So, well, that's good to hear, man. I guess we'll go ahead and finish this up here. Normally, I'll have just two final questions to ask. But first, I wanted to ask Tara a question since she is with us as well. So I wanted to ask Tara, what does it mean to be a volunteer with us here at Soldiers Angels?
Oh, it's just a wonderful way to show appreciation to those that are protecting us. They're willing to put their life on the line. They go through some really, really hard things. I think we don't have that perspective if we're not in the military and we don't visit the places and see the things and go through the hardships that they do. But so it's a wonderful opportunity that Soldier Angels has provided that we can make these connections and just show our appreciation and get an inkling of understanding what's going on for our benefit. Tevin's there not just for his own family, but for mine as well. And I will be forever grateful for that service.
That's amazing. Perfect. Thank you so much for sharing. Uh, Tevin, what does it mean for you to be a veteran?
To be a veteran is to like wake up and know what you did impacted American, and when you look at the flag, you can look at it in a different way. And the way I look at the flag is like, I sacrificed my time for every single person in this country, and that is one of the biggest and greatest things you can do in America. And there's nothing else like being a veteran, because people like Tara constantly, you're constantly getting thanked. There's constantly people there saying, hey, thanking you for not only what you did overseas, but this just the sacrifice it takes to say, hey, I'm going to go join the military, where it's a whole different world. Everyone knows what exactly could happen. Being able to give back in a way that there's no other comparison. I think that the biggest thing that veterans can take away is that you never take anything for granted after you join the military. Once you're out, everything means a
Very
lot,
true.
from conversations to food to your bed to relationships to just waking up and being able to see your loved ones every single day. These are the things that I think about.
Fantastic answer. I completely agree 100%, man. And then lastly, are there any words of wisdom that you would have for the next generation of service members or veterans?
Complete all your schooling you can while you're in the service. It's going to put you way ahead of people who don't, and you have tons of resources while you're in the service to get education done. But the accomplishment and hunting the that feeling where you've done it, and the person to the right or left of you, they're also right there with you. Keep chasing that and own your story. And as well as veterans, use all your resources. There are tons of people out there that are trying to help you. They want to help you. They're honored to help you from your service. And I think that a lot of veterans come out and they don't take full advantage of every single resource out. Yeah, my words of wisdom is, never stop pushing forward, and always look for that good thing no matter what situation you're in, because you will find it as long as you want to. And
Mhm.
that's what being a veteran is all about.
Yeah, beautifully said. Beautifully said. I thoroughly believe that the way to success is one step at a time. And I really do think you're taking your steps right now, Tevin. I know you're going to find success, fulfillment, happiness one way or another. I don't want to be in your way because I know you'll just knock me down. So that's good to know, man. I'm glad to hear it. Well, I would just like to say, Tevin, Tara, thank you both so much for joining me today. It's been a fantastic interview. I'm glad to hear all these stories. I'm glad to know each one of your perspective. Thank you so much for joining me and spreading the awareness, spreading the stories, spreading all the positivity, all that good stuff. Um, Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. We appreciate your time. And remember, till next time, may no soldier go unloved.